That's too loud. Here we go. Let me get the chat going, guys. How you doing? Welcome into the rant with me. Oh, jeez. I knew this was going to be part of the issue today. Having a bit of a microphone problem just to start. You know what? I bet I can just tighten that. That'll work. All right. Very good. Folks, you may notice the Rant studio, the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio, is a little bit different today. Hold on. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. We learned this like very early. A little bit. Okay, no, apparently I got to tighten this one. Is that the problem here? All right. This is what you tune in for. All right, everybody. You might notice the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio here at the beautiful E Gallery, the very spot that we do these rants every single day, is looking a little bit different today. I know this is all part of the game. You know the problems, the warts, and all. How the sausage is made is what they call it. There you go. That's how it's done. Thank you. All right, so the studio's looking a little stripped down. I think this or some form of this, well, we don't know about the permanency of the globe. It may be used in other things. This or the permanency of this setup. Oh, crap. I don't even have my news on. How am I supposed to know if... Just again, we'll get started. This show really should have started at 12:30 today, is what I'm saying. There we go. All right, hold on.
Love it. Grandma made your thing.
Cool. It's gonna make us watch a commercial for 2 seconds. There we go. Now we got the news on. Let's restart. The Kelly Moore Memorial Studios are taking on some changes. They're going through a little bit of a... I was here till like 9 o'clock last night. After getting here at 11. So it was a long day here at the studio, but it's changing. Like we're furniture, I'm building sets. Oh my God. I had to strip down this set because see this set that you see here with the big stupid eagle or whatever I choose to put back there. It's just going to be more stripped down and it's current events and it'll be the daily thing. But yesterday, I created a set it's more casual. I also created a permanent set for round table podcasting. That's what I want to start doing. I love, doing this every day, but I really wish you people could just listen to it. I do not like the video aspect of this. I know it's changed and it's created its own thing. Streaming is now its own thing. There are many people like myself who came to streaming from radio. Others from TV and entertainment. But the best streamers are the ones with absolutely no background and knowledge in any of that stuff. Because they're the ones that are just doing it based on, this is how I would do it. I'll give you an example of that. See this microphone? This is because I'm from radio. This is because this is how I think it's supposed to look because this is the way that it was designed to be most effective in a radio studio. But these are not radio studios. These are digital production studios. We have to have green screens. We have to have, sets need to be built because people want their YouTube videos to look great. And I don't blame them. But man, my proudest accomplishment was last night when I finished our roundtable for just podcast talk. That's all. I wanted to create an environment where I can get people that I would be honored to have come in here and sit down and talk to me for a while, much in the same way that Mike Reiner does his, his Dark Companion thing. Mike Reiner, legendary broadcaster here in Dallas, kind of becoming a bit of I won't say mentor because I wouldn't pretend that he would give me the time of day like that. But, somebody that I'm looking to in the way that they're doing this at the local level, he's doing it great. That Stolen Water Media they got over there is really incredible. And so, like I said, I'm like, man, we really got to step it up here. We got to have when you go and do the Mike Reiner podcast, Dark Companion, Stolen Water Media, find it everywhere. When you go and you do that, you walk into a room that is warm and cozy and you can't help but feel comfortable and want to talk and get, Mike's a sports guy, known as a sports guy, but that's not what this is. This is, if sports comes up, he's going to hang and bang with the best of them. But this is more of a life conversation from a guy that's done a lot and seen a lot. And that's kind of what I'm trying to create here. Maybe from slightly different perspective, because I'm not like him. We're different people. We have different approaches. But that's what I've been doing. And that's why this place is going to look different over the next couple of days. You can see I've got the blinds drawn. I might open that window. Maybe a Today Show thing, where you can just see like an empty walkway. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But thank you for being patient as Radio Misfits Dallas kind of figures out what its look is and what its brand is. And we're going to keep doing this, and you'll keep seeing me sitting here in front of a big stupid eagle every day at noon, as long as the good Lord and your gratuities allow. Now, on to that. The show is run every day, noon. Talk radio for normal people, we like to say. What is normal? Normal is the 70% of us that can do business. 15% of us on the right, I don't want to talk to those freaks. They're absurd. 15% on the left, same exact thing. So at least 70% of us. And I'm trying to do something where reasonable people who don't know everything. Hell, we don't know a whole lot of stuff, but there are certain areas that we do know about. Looking at you, Adam Reyna. Oh, I got more for Adam Reyna from yesterday. I stewed on that. We'll get back to that if you were listening yesterday. Had a bit of a tete-a-tete with our good friend Adam. Show runs on your gratuities, and we are in a pledge week. You can direct your attention down below. All I can say is, my God, you guys, last night when I went home and I sit in front of the computer and I'm like, okay, let's put the show to bed for tomorrow. Well, not the full show, because you know what I do the night before? I do the This Day in History stuff the night before. And, I was creating the thank you twos for the people who took care of yesterday, the big tippers of yesterday. And you guys, we needed to make $50 a show this week to hit our goal. You have no idea how scared I was. I mean, this is a weird time of year. I don't know. Maybe some of you folks, we're going to get them Trump checks. You're leveraging on that. I hope you are. Because if everybody suddenly gets a windfall, you guys better make it so we don't have to beg. If you really like this show, you better drop a tip like you can drop a fork. Because remember, yours truly, I'm off the radar. I probably won't be getting that check. I don't know where I am. I'm a ghost. I'm in the wind. Well, I ain't getting that check. But you guys do. Make sure you take care of the show. The three ladies yesterday, Kim, Leslie, and Mama B. We needed to raise $50 a show. You guys got us so ahead of the curve. We're at what, like 150 now? We're 125, something like that. I don't know, guys, but I'm not going to shake my tin can too much because, wow, what a first day. Thank you so much. I think it's like $37 a show now. I think $37. That's, my God, something like that. Who's going to buy me a $37 steak? Let's go. You can help out the show by dropping a little something in the Cash App or the Venmo. You can see that scrolling, or I'll put this up for you. All right, how does this show work? I love you too, Adam. You know that. Boom. How does the show work? It's a stream of consciousness. It's just me talking about, here's what I see going on. And, I'm not political, but I hate Russia, so I got thoughts. You're closed-minded on Russia. Yeah, I am. I'm closed-minded on Russia. I'm closed-minded on sex with Haitian prostitutes. I'm closed-minded. I'm closed-minded on a lot of things. There are a lot of things you can't allow yourself to be closed-minded on. The intentions and the long-standing hatred of me personally. Yeah, me. Because I'm an American. As you can see, I don't like Russia. I'm a Cold War kid. No self-respecting Cold War kid raised by grandparents who fought World War II is ever going to be okay with Russia. They know what they did. So the show plays out. It's a stream of consciousness where I just talk because I have nobody else to talk to except for you good folks in the chat room, and we do appreciate you. But I like when I say we. It's the royal we. Me and Jamie. Ain't that right, Jamie? Jamie's my producer. Jamie from the Joe Rogan Show. I figured I can use him because you almost never hear him on that show, but you do hear people call out to him, like when he needs to Google something. I like that. Jamie doesn't respond to me. I got a text. Sorry. I'm a dad, so I got to check. Okay, that's nuts. That's not the text that it's not a bad text. It's just not what I thought it could be. 4 quarters. Because it's a stream of consciousness and a guy like me has a tendency to go off the rails, I've created 4 quarters that I jump to like a frog hopping lily pads. The first one is called Antecedently on This Day. It's just this day in history. I cherry pick some things, events that have occurred on this day. They don't all have to be like big ones, just interesting ones, and we riff on those for a while. Antecedently on this day. I'm a huge failure. I failed last night. I failed. I was here. I was working so late at the studio. I had been here like 10 hours and I was hungry and I didn't want to go home and cook because I haven't been to the Kroger because I'm working so hard here. So I like don't even have soup at home yet. I will. I'll go shopping. But because I've been here, so I broke my. Do you know my thing about every year? I don't make New Year's resolutions, but every year I try and avoid fast food until St. Patrick's Day. That's it. I try to avoid fast food until St. Patrick's Day. Why St. Patrick's Day? Well, I mean, first of all, I don't want to give up on fast food altogether, but I also don't want to make it a regular part of my diet because look at me. Ugh. I don't need to tempt fate with cheeseburgers endlessly, right? So I do this like the first 3 months. And I've been doing it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And the reason that I have that line of demarcation at March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, is because the only reason that I go back is for the Shamrock Shake. Shamrock Shake season! I love the Shamrock Shake. Love it. But I failed. I made it to March 3rd this year. I had to go to McDonald's last night. I was hungry. And there's a McDonald's right there, right at the end, Riverfront and Lamar? Riverfront and whatever, right there. So I went to that McDonald's. I had 2 double cheeseburgers. Oh, my God. They're so good. They are. We overlook the McDonald's double cheeseburger, probably because it's only like $1.69. We overlook the McDonald's double cheeseburger, but there isn't a better belly bomb on the planet. You give me 4 double cheeseburgers, just 4, because they're not that big. They're like twice the size of a White Castle double cheeseburger. So if you just get like 4 of those double cheeseburgers, 4 McDonald's double cheeseburgers is as good as 8 White Castles. I'm telling you. Everybody sleeps on just the standard McDonald's cheeseburger. It's incredible. It's just cheese and meat and bun. Oh, you got a problem with any of those things? McDonald's does all 3 of those things at the highest level. Meat, well, you know what I mean. It's meat. They buy a lot of it. Cheese, the same thing. But their buns are incredible. Their buns, their Coca-Cola, their straws, their fries. The potato game of McDonald's is just unquestioned. You know what else I got yesterday at McDonald's? Because I was sleeping on a bunch of free bonus points. Because I hadn't been there. Remember, I haven't had fast food since New Year's Eve or before New Year's Eve. But I was sleeping on like 5,000 bonus points. So I also got the greatest fish product God ever made. The Filet-O-Fish. Yeah, it's the best fish product. I gotta be honest with you. You go, oh, I love fish. A fine grilled salmon. Screw you. A fresh off the grill Filet-O-Fish on that like buttery bun with that sauce and cheese. It's the best fish product ever. Your programming tells you that it can't be. It possibly can't. It's better than any Mrs. Paul's fish stick you ever had as a kid growing up. It's better than any piece of fish you ever had in a restaurant. You know why? Because when you get a good piece of fish in a restaurant, the whole point of it is that it doesn't taste fishy. It doesn't taste like fish. McDonald's has a perfect balance in that Filet-O-Fish of little fish flavor, little tartar sauce, little cheese, and a little magic bun. So I failed yesterday. I failed. That's okay. Back on the wagon. Although there's also a Jack in the Box at the end of the block. I just love me some Jack in the Box too. Give me one of them new Jack Smash burgers. Oh. The Jack Smash double cheeseburger is the reason this year that I went, okay, got to slow it down. Got to be extra diligent when I drop out of the fast food game for 3 months. That Jack in the Box double cheese. Can you tell I'm hungry? The double cheese smash burger at Jack in the Box. Whew. That's also good. I'm starving. I'll probably be going there around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So, hey, come on. We'll have a lunch. Oh, the last thing here that I want to do in this the small talk segment. What is that? Adam got some fast food tips. Adam says, when I get McDonald's with my girls, I get 2 McDoubles and remove 1 bun from each. So that makes a I like it. That's fuck yeah, man. He ain't anymore, but you can't unlearn the skills that a fat guy learns. Fat guys know things about eating, man. Listen to your fat friends when they suggest you should dip fat in. They know. You fat guys, man, we have a base of knowledge that you skinny fucks, you have no idea. You have no idea how good food can be. Adam's not fat anymore. He's left the tribe, but he still retains the knowledge. That's pretty good. Oh, did anybody else have their day start at 5:30 a.m. like me? Oh yeah. Welcome to the world. It's 5:30. You're up now. We had some storms roll through. I don't know how wide. Actually, I do, because I put on. Did you know they do live news at like 5:30 in the morning? They do live Dallas news. So I was awoken at 5:30 in the morning. Well, you know, I sleep with thunderstorms. I like the whole ASMR thing. Like, so I have on my TV, I just go to YouTube every night before I go to sleep. And I put black screen, heavy thunderstorm. That's all you got to do. Just Google search on YouTube. Search on YouTube. Black screen, because I like the black screen. There's choices. They can give you lightning and stuff too, or different scenes. You're in a rainstorm on a cabin by a lakeside. Yeah, that's too much light. I know it's just too much light. I know it's supposed to, but my TV naturally just gives off too much light. So I like black screen, heavy thunder. So that's on every night. And that's me and the dog go to sleep. That's our thing. We go right out. It's beautiful. It is so good. I'm so glad YouTube does these things. But then it started storming, like for real. And there was lightning that was or thunder that was so loud last night in the middle of the night. I don't know, because I'm sleeping, that I like, my hand emerges from the blankets and it hits the nightstand, and I grab the remote control and I'm turning down the TV. I'm like, ah! And then I realized that ain't on the TV. That's outside. So I turned the TV off and I was like, well, okay, I'm just going to relax with the natural sounds of thunder and rain as it rolls through University Park here in North Texas. And this will be beautiful. So I turn off the TV, go back to sleep. Then the tornado sirens came. Oh yeah. Apparently we had a tornado rolling through Highland Park at around 5:30 this morning. So and it ain't like the first Tuesday of the month. So I'm like, fuck. So what do? I sleep in my underwear. So what do? I get dressed, right? Because I don't know what's happening. I'm going to ride out at least as long as the sirens are blaring. I'm getting my go bag, which is my backpack. You want to know what's in my go bag? This is what I got. IDs, phone, charger. IDs, phone, charger, computer charger. That's it. Get out. That's it. That is in my backpack. So I'm packing that. The sirens are going, and the lights are flickering. I got the window. I'm looking. You can't even see out the window because it's, it's like horizontal rain, horizontal Texas rain. Now I have to make that distinction because, I grew up in the Midwest. Well, we have some storms. We got some doozies of storms, man. Them crops, they don't grow themselves. That ain't Texas thunder. That ain't Texas rain. That ain't here's how it was explained to me by a weatherman, local weatherman. Was it Steve Noviello? I think it was Steve. No, did Steve do weather? I don't know. Anyway, one weather guy here in town explained that to me once, and he said it's because of the topography. The reason thunder sounds 10 times louder in Texas than it does in, say, the Midwest is because the Midwest has peaks and valleys and rolling hills and green, and all of that stuff absorbs the concussion that we hear on the ground. In Texas, most of it's just flat and it's dirt. So that noise, if you know about echoes and amplification and sound and all that kind of stuff, that noise, that thunder comes out of the sky, hits the ground, bangs right back up, and echoes back and forth more so than it does being absorbed by rivers and valleys and fields and trees and green and, all of that stuff. So that's how it was explained to me. But the event ended about 10 minutes after it started. I think it was about 5:40 when this all ended this morning. And I'm dressed. I'm dressed. The dog isn't. The dog is still in the bed, at the foot of the bed, under the covers, looking at me like, is it walk time? And I'm like, it is definitely not walk time, asshole. But the dog's like, should I get up? No. Trust me, you don't need to know what's coming. The dog, I had to think about that. I'm like, oh, what do I do with the dog? Well, God, do we get in the car and just go for it? I don't know. I don't know what to do here in Texas. We don't have basements. There is no sub-level of these places to go and ride this out safely and watch your house take off from above. There is not, so I don't know. Just get in the car and drive away from the sirens. That's how I'm going to do it. And that's what I was prepared to do. And then the siren stopped and it completely stopped raining. And I'm like, okay, all right. So there you go. How I woke up. How about you? Been up ever since. Tried to go back to bed. At that point, it's like 5:45 in the morning. And I'm like, okay, I could sleep for like another hour and a half. That would be fine. That's like my normal time, right? That's not bad. Oh, hell no. You want to know why? Because within the next 5 minutes, the dog did want to go out. The dog was like, well, since you're watching TV, because I had to put on the local news because I wanted to see, the storm track and all that. So that was my morning. Went out and freshly rained. It stopped almost immediately. At least, I'm sure it didn't stop almost immediately, but by the time the tornado sirens went off and woke everybody up, it had been raining pretty heavily, I guess, for a couple of hours, but it stopped right there. So we survived. We survived. It's pretty eventful small talk. Barney says Pugs is a prepper, prepared for a short stay in a hotel near a fully stocked Walmart. If that's a prepper, yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I don't trifle with these Texas tornadoes, man. No, thank you. They're a different breed of animal. I grew up with tornadoes. My neighborhood had been hit by tornadoes a couple of times. We had the historic Plainfield tornado, and my mom, I believe, survived the Oak Lawn tornado. That was a really big one. It was the last one to hit like a neighborhood in Chicago. So we have tornadoes because they all get sucked up Tornado Alley into the Great Lakes. That's the path. They start in the Gulf, rip through Texas, go all the way up the plains, and then head right for Chicago. But they get broken up before they hit there. Yeah, I'm prepared. I don't trifle with tornadoes. These Texas ones, man, they ain't funny. They are a different breed of tornado than anything that I grew up with, is my point. Let's see. Adam says, you're closest to the siren at Mockingbird and Greenville. That shit used to wake me up all the time. Mockingbird and Greenville. No, that wouldn't have been my siren. My siren would have been, I believe my siren is atop the Highland Park Middle School, which is about 2 blocks away from where I am. So where I used to be, maybe that was Mockingbird and Greenville, but nah. Whatever it was, it's close and it's loud enough to wake me from a dead sleep. So, that's a thing. Barney's got this tip. Get in the tub. Cover your head. No. I'm not on the first floor. I'm not getting out of the tub. I ain't going for a ride, Barney. I ain't doing it. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting as low to the ground as possible. I'm ducking. I'm bobbing. I'm weaving. I got a plan. Probably a terrible one, but it is still a plan. All right, what do you say we get started with today's show? I am Pugs Moran. These are the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios at the E-Gallery in Dallas's Design District. Once again, thank you to the folks who participated in our pledge week yesterday. Got off to a roaring start. If you can help support the show in any way, shape, or form, please get us to our goal. $37 a day is all we're looking for. All right, let's do it. Antecedently on this day, Q1, what do you say we get started? These are the events that have helped shape our understanding of March the 3rd. All right, antecedently on this day, 1493, explorer Christopher Columbus arrives back in London. No, London? What? Lisbon. Lisbon. That's a failed city. That's a failed Democratic-run city, I'm sure. Lisbon used to be important, right? If it didn't say Lisbon, Portugal, I wouldn't have been 100% sure where Lisbon is. Like if you'd have been like, no, it's in the Maldives. I'd be like, oh yeah, Lisbon, Maldives. That's right. That sounds right. Because I'm stupid. Anyway, he came back on the Nina, and it was the Bahamas, right? That's what he found. He found the Bahamas, basically, and other islands in the Caribbean. And he came back, and he's like, you guys, let me tell you about Japan. Japan, first of all, a lot closer and easier to find than I thought. I mean, you know what I mean, guys? I was getting ready to give up, and I'm like, oh, that must be it. There it is. That's Columbus. Columbus was the biggest jackass in history. He had no fucking clue where he was, and yet he's revered throughout time for discovering the Americas. He thought he was going to Japan. Thought Cuba was Japan. He was wrong. Oh, but programming has elevated him to a level of Magellan. We talk about Magellan. Maybe Amerigo Vespucci, the great cartographer, who that guy, he heard something and he called it this. Columbus. Dude got lost on this day in 1493 and made it back home. On this day, antecedently in the year 1789, in New York City, the very first Congress of these here United States meets, putting the United States Constitution into effect. Wait, what? So today is the anniversary of the United States Constitution being put into effect. Let me phrase that in another word. So today is the day that America became America? Huh. Seems like maybe we should have a parade or something. It would just be... See, but we've never been programmed to think this day is a big day. We've probably never even heard of it. We decided that we were going to tell everybody that there's another day that we're going to celebrate. That this is a big fucking day. It's a big day. 1789 in New York City, the first Congress of the United States meets, putting the United States Constitution into effect. March 4th, 1789. Not a single American toting a fucking pocket Constitution in their pocket probably knows that. Antecedently, on this day in 1791, Vermont is admitted to the United States as our 14th state. Vermont! So yesterday I told you, was it Florida we were welcoming? It was Florida's anniversary of becoming a state. I think it was. So the curious case of Vermont. Yesterday I was telling you about how all the other states, Texas, Illinois, where I'm from, all of them, absent the 13 colonies, all the other states should have performance reviews. We should be like, we don't know if we need you. Relegation. Maybe that would be it. Maybe, hey, maybe America. Maybe America could do what the Premier League does. And we could treat our states. Trump. Oh, that's got such a great Trump ring to it. Sorry, Mississippi. You're Mexico now. Mississippi, if you can turn your shit around, maybe you can come back to the United States. But right now, you're Mexico. Vermont. The curious case of Vermont is interesting because it's the 14th admitted. So the 13 were admitted, and then they were like, who's first of like the rest of us that got to the party late? And that's Vermont. So I think we give Vermont a little bit of leeway too. Because if you're the 14th state, that means, let's grab them. We got to grab them. That means you were good from the beginning. Yeah, so they started picking through, like people who arrived late started picking through shit going, what is this? What is this, Oklahoma? What is it? So Vermont, for the time, they probably thought it was like rich in natural resources, lumber. Is Vermont by water? I don't know. Does it have waterways? I mean, those are all kinds of things that were important to those people. I think history has told us that Vermont has, really contributed nothing to American culture other than the middle-aged lesbian. That might be it. The middle-aged, flannel-wearing Vermont lesbian. Anyway, welcome to the party, Vermont. I don't think you should be subject to performance reviews, but if you were, we'd have to really take a hard look at what you've contributed. Other than Melissa Etheridge album sales. I mean, that certainly has been a big part of Vermont's economy. Vermont welcomed to the United States on this day in 1791. On this day in 1794, you Americans, the 11th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is, what is this? Slow down and read it, you fuck. On this day in 1794, the 11th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is passed by the United States Congress. All right, geniuses, what's the 11th? You don't know. You don't know. Nobody's like, I believe in the Constitution. I got a pocket Constitution. Now, you don't know the 11th Constitution. You don't even know the 11th Amendment. I didn't. I mean, I'm not supposed to. I'm not all that bright. But, off the top of my head, I was like, I don't know. What is that? Can't tie your donkey to a fire hydrant? I don't know what that would be, 11. Everybody knows the second, though. Like when people are Second Amendment, I always say, okay, what's the third? You're so important to second. We all know second and first. We just get a little fuzzy with our Americanism once we get outside of, I want to be able to buy guns and then talk shit. That's the first and the second. Those are the ones we care about. Talking shit and then fire it. That's okay. The 11th means you can't sue other states if you're not a citizen of it. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's how dumb I am. Yeah, the 11th Amendment to the United States Constitution says that non-citizens cannot sue states. I don't know how that works. I didn't even know that was a thing. I might be reading it wrong. You know what? I encourage you to go look into it on your own. Antecedently on this day in 1797, John Adams is inaugurated as the second president of these here United States, becoming the first to begin his presidency on March 4th. Well, would you look at that? No reason to mention that. That's a stupid piece of history. Who cares? Here's one I care about very deeply. Very deeply. Hey, holy mackerel. No doubt about it. Happy birthday, Chi-Town. That's right. For it was on this day in 1837, my hometown, Chicago, the beacon of the prairie. What are we known as? What is Chicago known as? The Windy City. Don't be out of town, stupid. It's not called the Windy City because it's windy, although it is, which is why there's such confusion, because it is a very windy city. The lake creates these swirling winds that downtown, when they get trapped in the canyons of the big cities, it's going to blow your hat off. So it is windy. But it's not known. It's called the Windy City because of its politics. Their politics were New York Times referred to it as the Windy City. The second city, proudly, the second city, New York done right, as they used to say in the 1950s. The second city, because New York was the first. Los Angeles hadn't really grown with the population explosion. The Dodgers hadn't moved there yet, so Los Angeles was still not. Second city, it's another nickname. City of Big Shoulders. Whoa! City of Big Shoulders. Chirac. And lastly, Stinky Onions. Yes! Stinky Onions is the Indian translation of the word Chicago. That's Chicago. It's not a good word. It means stinky onions because the banks of Lake Michigan, where Chicago now sits, the Indian tribes from all over used to come there to pick at a certain time of year these very specific onions that grew, these wild onions, and they were very delicious and very aromatic. And the Indian different tribes would, as a matter of fact, there was a what do they call it? You couldn't go to war there. Like different tribes would come at this time of year when the Chicago onion would grow, and they would put down their weapons, even if they were like warring tribes or whatever. They'd be like, no, come on, we got to get these onions before they, go bad, before they freeze up. Chicago. Stinky onions are aromatic. There's not like a word. I don't think there's a word that translates from the Indian word for what they meant. So the closest thing would be aromatic, or if you want to be fun about it, stinky. Stinky onions. 1837. Thank you, Chicago. Okay, so I guess the question is, and I'm going to put the other places to it, performance review of Chicago. Chicago, welcome. Come on, sit down. Let's do a quick little performance review. Let me open up your file. 1837 on this day. Happy birthday, Chicago. Okay, you're good. You can go. Fuck you. There's nothing bad you can say. Oh, crime! crime. You can say that about anything. That's everywhere. Chicago's an awesome city. It's a fucking great city. It's a great city filled with great people, hard working class, blue collar neighborhoods, the most diverse way to grow up anyone could imagine. I always say that the reason that I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to go into it. I don't want to go into it. I love my city. And yet I choose to live here in North Texas and am not moving back. So, life is complicated. Happy birthday to my hometown of Chicago, 1837 on this day incorporated. On this day in 1933. Oh, wait a second. Hold up. Wait a second. We got a problem with Mama B? Okay. All right. Yeah, we don't. Okay. I love you, Mama. All right. Well, I'm going to find out about that. One of our Mama B is going to be Mama B's fine. She's fine. That woman, trust me when I tell you, that ain't no shrieking violet. That ain't. All right. Yeah, I hope everything's okay. All right. Now I got to call Tom. Is that what's going on? Now I got to call Tom. All right. Tom is her son, one of my oldest friends. One of my last normal friends. One of my last normal friends. All of my other lifelong friends are either way in the 15% on the right or way in the 15% on the left, except for Tom. Me and Tom, my friend Mike Chahara, God rest his soul, he passed away. We lost him. He was with me and Tom. We're normal, logical people, right? And we're like, yeah, we are. They've gone a little nuts, right? Yeah, they've gone a little nuts, but that's okay. We love them, so let's keep drinking. Come on. We're old friends. We don't let this kind of stuff stop. Back in '86, we fought those guys from Sandburg High School at Subway together, and I'll be damned if I'll let MAGA stop us from being brothers. That's kind of my vibe on the whole thing. But so I hope you're well, Mama B. She says my ticker rhythm got shocked yesterday. Okay now. Yeah, it better be okay now. Okay, very good. All right, let's keep going. See, I stopped down to have a little chat with the chat room, and I find something now that I have to be concerned about. Antecedently, on this day in 1933, FDR becomes the 32nd president of the United States, and the last. He was there forever, and if you axing me, he's the one. He's the man for our time. Or he was a man for that time. Let's say that. I don't know how Roosevelt would do now. I don't know. With the scrutiny of the press, he's a one-termer. How many women is he banging? But Roosevelt, man, as far as like representing the United States on the world stage at a time when we were not yet widely considered what we are now, which is, the superpower. We were emerging and we were about to show the world that we were a superpower, but it was this gentleman, this well-spoken, charismatic deal maker statesman who got us through there. And it's equally important to mention because at the time there was mass panic when Roosevelt passed. There were a lot of people who were like, what now? He was there for 13 years. That's a long term for a president. There was a lot of skepticism surrounding Truman, but let's not sleep on Harry Truman, man. I disagree with his decision, but on behalf of the United States, he made a decision that haunted him the rest of his life, and he made the decision. God bless the man. God bless Harry Truman. Don't sleep on him. All right, here we go. Antecedently, on this day in 1966, in an interview in the London Evening Standard, the Beatles' John Lennon declares that the band is more popular than Jesus now. They were. Sorry to say it, among young people, the Beatles in 1966 were more popular than Jesus. if you had just gone and grabbed random teenagers off the street in 1966 and said, do you want to see a guy who claims to be Jesus or a guy who claims to be John Lennon? And they'll go with John Lennon. They would. My favorite clip from John Lennon is when he had to walk that back, because he didn't mean that the Beatles were better than Jesus. He just meant, they were like, well, how do you explain your popularity? He was like, I don't know, man. It's like we're more popular than Jesus. Context and all of that. He didn't mean what the preachers in the South tried to make it seem like he meaned. He didn't mean that. But he does have that famous quote. So I don't do imitations, but I used to do this imitation on the radio back in Chicago. It was when he was humbled, and he was trying to walk it back because he was like, why did everybody get so mad at me? I didn't do it. And he just said, I never meant to say we were more popular than Jesus. I just said it. Someone said, now all this. It's just the way he said it. If you ever get a chance to hear that clip, the way he's, well, I guess you also have to know John Lennon. I have a deep affinity for him. But the way, the authentic humility when he was like confused about, I was just being a wit, and now all this. He's confused. And that's almost like the beginning of the nonsense that would follow for the next 60 years of journalism, where everything is taken out of context and everything is blown up for, a little extra mileage from somebody who can benefit. I never meant to say we were more popular than Jesus. It's just something I said. Now all this. On this day in 1966, on this day in 1990, American basketball player Hank Gathers dies after collapsing during the semifinals of the West Coast Conference tournament game. Loyola Marymount, Ben Gathers. It's shocking, but I'm not as shocked by Ben Gathers dropping dead of a heart attack. It was early death video. Like, this was at a time when everything wasn't recorded, but there was video because it was happening at a pretty high profile game. Just an athlete dropping dead of a heart attack. Different than the other. There were 3 other big basketball player deaths in that era. Hank Gathers dropping dead of a heart attack here on this day in 1990. Len Bias was another one, first round choice of the Celtics. Also died the night of his draft. Like, he drafted first round. Len Bias goes to the Celtics. Everybody's all excited. He's excited. He goes back to a dorm room, does a whole bunch of blow, and dies. Wow, imagine that. Imagine your first round pick, your big pick dies the day you draft him. And then there was Ben Wilson. Ben Wilson is one that I remember. Maybe you've seen the 30 for 30 Benji. Ben Wilson was a Chicago high school basketball player. It was the number 1 ranked basketball player in the country and all that stuff. And he was shot and killed walking down the street in his neighborhood. So you've got natural causes heart attack, you've got OD from cocaine, and you've got Benji Wilson shot dead. So 3 very different ways that these 3 incredibly gifted basketball players came to an early demise. On this day, 1990, Hank Gathers dies after collapsing during the semifinals of a West Coast Conference tournament game for Loyola Marymount. On this day in 1998, gay rights. Okay, so here's a gay rights issue, 1998. Don't think of it with your head, your gay knowledge head of 2025. Go back to 98. When we still didn't want gay people teaching our kids because they teach them AIDS. Gay rights. This is OnCale versus Sundowner Offshore Services. So it's a company. It's a company called Sundowner Offshore Services. OnCale is the name of a dude who obviously sued this company. Why did he sue the company? Well, the Supreme Court in this case they ruled that federal laws banning on-the-job sexual harassment. Okay, so by 1998, there were federal laws banning sexual harassment in the workplace. That was already covered ground. But on this day in 1998, the United States Supreme Court also ruled that applies to gay people as well. Which I asked you to think about this from 1998, not from 19 or 2025 where we are now. Because that means that there had to have been the argument where this guy went, "You sexually harassed me," to a judge, and the other guy's response was, "How can I? I'm a guy too." I mean, that's so funny that gay dudes aren't horny and gay dudes might not use their. I mean, now we take that for granted. Of course, there are gay predators as well. There's all kinds of predators coming, all kinds of sexual orientations and peccadillos, if you will. But, just the idea that an argument by somebody being paid like, $500 an hour, a top tier lawyer in front of the Supreme Court, had to argue that two dudes can't sexually harass each other, Your Honor. That ain't a thing. Your Honor, I submit, this is a penis, this is a vagina. Now, if the penis wants to go under the vagina, there can be some, rather ribald discourse that will occur beforehand, and maybe the vagina doesn't want to hear that. I understand that, Your Honor. But in this particular case, you got a penis, Your Honor, you got another penis, and there ain't no entering as I rest my case. I'll sit down and... What was that, the argument? I mean, that's a 1998 gay rights argument or anti-gay rights argument. He's a man, Your Honor. What? I bet you that one of the dudes hadn't come out yet. Right? I bet that was like the defense. Like the dude who was being accused of gay harassing the gay dude in the office probably hadn't come out. He's like, how can this be? I'm not even gay. What? All right, there you have it. That was 1998. All right, thank you, folks. That's quarter one. That's antecedently on this day. What do you say we move on to some birthdays? Let's talk about people who were born on this day, celebrities, notable quotables, whomever. We'll decide right here and now whether we like them or not. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. I told you, I'm watching that new show. New show. I'm such an ass. Hold on, guys. I gotta do a little something here. I'm watching the old show. I told you yesterday about Vinyl, which was an old HBO show. It's an HBO show. Martin Scorsese, Terrence Winter, and Mick Jagger got together and created a show about the 1970s. Early 1970s, late 1960s, New York rock music record business scene. Here's how I would explain it to you if you're wondering, what might that show look like? Mad Men meets Behind the Music, and it's fascinating. It is, and what I mean by Behind the Music is it's not a documentary. It's like Mad Men. It's a show based in 1970 in New York City. They're trying to sign all these early punk bands and all that, but the stories are all real. In some of the celebrities that are featured, many of them, they're all real. Like anyway, point is this. One of the guys that was featured yesterday, in yesterday's episode, they had to lure David Bowie to play a charity event because they had hopes of stealing him from his label. And also yesterday, they were in Vegas dealing with, this is episode 5 or 6 or something. Ray Romano and Bobby Cannavale had to fly to Vegas to try and persuade Elvis to act cool again. They wanted Elvis to be cool again and play with a punk band and anyway. Another one of the artists that was featured. Hold on. What? Hold on. All right, I'm not going to be able to do this. All right, never mind. All right, happy birthday, Bobby Womack. We're going to move on. I wanted to play something that I had queued up from that movie or the TV show Vinyl, but I can't now. So anyway, happy birthday, Bobby Womack, singer, songwriter. He's very cool. Born on this date in 1944. Did we skip somebody? Oh, yeah, we did. We skipped 1888. How am I going to do this? Born on this day in 1888. The great Knute Rockne. Ladies and gentlemen, Knute Rockne! I'm a Notre Dame fan, so of course I put Knute Rockne up there, George Halas. Knute Rockne, I'm going in the order. Amos Alonzo Stagg. Curly Lambeau. Paul Brown. That's football. That's football right there in America. Okay? So those are Redgrave. Harold Redgrave. You can't forget about Harold Redgrave. But Newt Rockne to me, because I'm a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. You guys, I can do the speech. I've done the speech for my son. You know the famous Newt Rockne speech? It's the Gipper speech. Ready? So Newt Rockne, supposedly, he goes to the bedside of George Gipp, legendary Notre Dame football player. He was dying of cancer. Newt went there before a game. And Gipp died. And Notre Dame famously lost that game. I think Newt, in reality, was a little distracted that his best friend George Gipp was laying dead in dying in the hospital. But Newt Rockne turned that story into one of the most legendary coach pep stories for a team in history. Win one from the Gipper is probably, now by today's standards, it's lame as fuck. Like by today's standards, like my kid knows it. I made my kid memorize the Gipper speech. So he could stand in front of you and he could look you in the eye and he could say, George Gipp said to me, Rock, sometime when the team is up against it and the breaks are beating the boys, tell them to go out there with all they got and win just one for the Gipper. I don't know where I'll be, Rock, but I'll know I'll hear about it, and I'll be happy. The Gipper speech! Now go out there, boys, and win! Newt Rockne, born on this day, 1888. Born on this day in 1950, old Governor Helmet Hair, actually I used to call him Governor Corvette, Rick Perry. I remember when he was powerful. What happened with Rick Perry? Tell you what happened with Rick Perry. All right. So here's what happened with Rick Perry. Rick Perry was on his way. There's a timeline where Rick Perry was a 2-term president of the United States after being governor of Texas. Of course, we don't all operate in that timeline, but it does exist out there somewhere. So Rick Perry was all ready for the next level. He had been primed. He looked good. Rick Perry driving around in his Corvette. But when he got to the next level, his time of emergence coincided with Trump's time of emergence. And Rick Perry didn't know how to handle that because Rick Perry was, he was a Texas governor and he was, a conservative guy, but a Republican and all that. But he wasn't MAGA. When Trump came on the scene, Perry was like, well, like most other people, this guy's a joke. This guy will not make it through the primary, so I'm just going to bide my time. Rick Perry never kissed the ring, but his replacement, Greg Abbott, sure did. Rick Perry is out there in lifelong conservative limbo, not knowing, because he has not been a vocal. What he was given a bullshit place in the first administration, but then you know what I mean? I mean, he was given a chance, but I think politically, Rick Perry doesn't know where he's supposed to be right now. He is bad timing. Goddamn bad timing. He emerged on the national scene as a guy who really, if his message had penetrated, it never did, because everybody was talking about Trump and the shit he was saying. But if his message had penetrated, he probably would have been a very desirable candidate for a lot of people in this country. But he emerged at the same time as Trump. So kind of like playing in the NBA in the 90s against Michael Jordan. There's a whole bunch of dudes. Charles Barkley's like, I ain't never won shit. Karl Malone, I ain't never won shit. That's it. Rick Perry celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Governor Corvette. Born on this day in 1950. Born on this day in 1953. And I'm going to say it properly because I have respect for all cultures. Born on this day in 1953. Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez. Not to be confused with Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez is the actor. This, Emilio Estefan. Of course, he's Gloria Estefan's husband. He's the boss of the Miami Sound Machine. The musical act, the mid-wedding band from the 1980s that America's cocaine dealers made pop superstars. That's what they are, man. The Miami Sound Machine. God love Gloria Estefan, whatever. But there are a million Gloria Estefans everywhere. They're a wedding band. The Miami Sound Machine were like the most desirable local party band in Miami at the time when coke dealers were throwing big parties. And they were fighting over the Miami Sound Machine. And then they bought a record company, and the record company that was fully full. What was it? Was it Island? I don't know if it was Island. I think it was Island Records. Anyway, it was completely funded by cocaine money. And they said all of these coke dealers and, dudes in Miami were like, well, you better play the Miami Sound Machine song. Come shake your body, baby. And it was good. It was fine. Those were good pop songs. But it just goes to show you that, maybe you're at Carson's off the tollway and you see that band. I know there's a band, the big band that's really popular. And they always play New Year's Eve in Victory Plaza. But you think they're not a real. Yeah, they are. But for the support of record company owning coke dealers, they could have been the Miami Sound Machine. Anyway, happy birthday, Emilio Estefan. Born on this day in 1953. Born on this day in 1954. Our queen, my queen, whatever. If she's not your queen, I'm not fighting in your army. That's all I can say. Catherine O'Hara. The greatness of Catherine O'Hara. You think I'm like weird about Catherine O'Hara every time her name comes up on this show? You ought to try living with me. Every time, like if Catherine O'Hara shows up on screen on a TV show or whatever, I'm sitting on the couch with my kid, he's 15 and we're watching, I will scramble for the remote and I will pause it and I will go, who's that? And he'll be like, oh, that's Catherine O'Hara. You like her a lot, Dad, and you do this every time. And I'm like, yes! She is the most underrated comic actress performer of all time, and it's time people start recognizing her. And I know they have, to a degree. Came a little bit late. The idea that Catherine O'Hara was never on Saturday Night Live because, I don't know, is insane to me. Catherine O'Hara, she's a freaking genius, Canadian-American actress and comedian. So likable, so lovely. Canadian. She's a lovely Canadian woman. Also, let me point this out about Catherine O'Hara. Catherine O'Hara was hot. Catherine O'Hara was funny and sexy and all of those things. Like you go back to like the 1970s, the 1980s, you look at like a 26-year-old Catherine O'Hara doing sketch comedy for Second City. Oh my God. I'll take you one step further. You ever watch Home Alone? You'd do that, Mom. You would totally do that, Mom. I would do that, Mom. She was wonderful. I mean, a bad mom. She forgot her kid. Multiple times she forgot her kid. There were sequels. Catherine O'Hara, born on this day in 1954. I love her. Born on this day in 1963, Jason Newsted. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is Jay here? Okay. This is actually an argument from years ago that I had with a friend of mine. What is real Metallica? Like if you're going to go see Metallica, what is real Metallica? Now I was lucky enough to see what I consider real Metallica. And real Metallica has Jason Newsted. Sorry, that's real Metallica. Cliff Burton is dead. Okay? He's gone. He can't ever be. And I know Jason replaced Cliff and all that. People were just always, didn't take to him because of Cliff. Cliff is dead, motherfucker. All right? So anyway. He's not on Master of Puppets, all right? That's Cliff, right? I think so, in the earlier stuff. But all of that shit, man, all of the great stuff that Metallica did since they broke through after Master of Puppets, all of that great stuff. He's on there, man. And then he quit in 2001. He left the band in 2001. I would argue Metallica hasn't exactly been awesome since 2001, but they were awesome in like 1995 when Jason Newsted was in Metallica. Thereby, vis-a-vis, Jason Newsted, for me, represents authentic Metallica. Thank you. You guys got any feelings on the Pantera thing that's happening? Do you guys have any? Wow, while I got you here, and we're talking about, rock and roll. So like Phil is out there leading. Is it just Phil? Is it somebody else? Because here's the thing. I mean, if it's not Rex, Phil, and the brothers, for me, that's obviously never going to be Pantera again. But if you love Pantera songs like I do, and you love, here's what sucks about it. Because the reason we love Pantera's truly unique boogie metal, groove metal, Texas, whatever you want to call it, that truly unique thing is Dime's guitar and Vinnie Paul's drumming. But I also think that there's probably a lot of people who can mimic that pretty well. I think there's a lot of dudes who can sound exactly like, I mean, Daryl did it organically. Dime, that was his thing, that sound. And Vinnie Paul, the same damn thing with drumming. They created it, but there are other people I think that can replicate it. So I'm okay with that. I think honestly the most, and I hate to say this, and I'm team Abbott boys, but I think if push comes to shove, I think the most important thing is having Phil. I think Phil having the voice. I think that's like, I'll put it to you this way. I would be more like Phil and Rex, maybe, like if they weren't, didn't they spit off together? So I would have been more interested in seeing Phil and Rex do Pantera songs than seeing, the real Pantera without Phil singing, but it's the Abbott brothers. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So whatever. Anyway, I don't know how we got into this. Oh, what do we think about that? I'm watching the new. I'm like, Pantera is back. And I know this because my son sent me the link. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Come on, Dad, let's go see Pantera. That's perfect for a 15-year-old boy, isn't it? And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that my 15-year-old big meathead boy, when he needs to get aggressive and all of that, he's not afraid to go into 90s metal or, I like that. It's not just all some new weird hip hop thing that he's into. All right, there you have it. Let's see. What else do we have here? Birthdays. We're doing birthdays. Evan Dando, born on this day in 1967. He's of the Lemonheads. He's a puss. He's like, I know a place where I can go when you're alone. Into your arms, oh, into your arms I can go. Screw you! No, thank you. Oh, I got to fix my eagle. Oh, my eagle went away. That's no fun. Evan Dando was like the handsome Brad Pitt type of the one-hit wonder 90s alternative music scene. The Lemonheads. People were like, the Lemonheads are so good. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're like, did you hear Mrs. Robinson? And I'm like, yeah, that is a great song. They didn't write it. All they did was played Mrs. Robinson too fast and too loud. I mean, it's an interesting cover version, but you can see that at any bowling alley on a Friday and Saturday night. You can see interesting cover versions. Please. Evan Dando. Happy birthday, Lemonheads. Born on this day in 1967. Born on this day. That's it. We're done. No more birthdays. Okay, let's move on. Let's do the deads. Quarter 3. We got to move this show along. These are the people who died on this day. We're going to take a look at their life's resume and decide if they went to heaven or did they go to hell. Here we go. Dead people. Dead on this. That's right. I knew about this. I knew that this was going to be one of those dead people days. Okay. All right. So look, let me go out of order. All right. Let me go out of order because there are 2 people who both died on this day who are very closely associated. And I want to talk about both of them. Okay. And I want to spend a little bit of time. So I want to give them their due. But also worthy of note, dead on this day in 2019, Luke Perry, Dylan from 90210, Luke Perry, for me, as a Gen Xer, when I first saw Luke Perry, I wanted to hate him. I was like, oh God, do I have to grow sideburns now? When he popped up on TV, he had a totally different kind of look. And he and Jason Priestley with their sideburns and their pompadours, they changed the way people of my generation were expected to dress. Yeah, we all had stupid sideburns. Ugh. I say I wanted to hate him, but Luke Perry was cool, man. Luke Perry, never met him or anything like that, but Luke Perry in every interview and everything that he had done after that, really interesting guy and seemingly an incredibly kind dude. So Luke Perry is going to heaven. Very, 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 very significant contributor to the cultural of Generation X. So there you go. So I wanted to make sure we got to Luke Perry. But now, that was 2019. Luke Perry passed away. Cancer. Well, let's just put it this way, disease or something. I'm not entirely sure what the specific reason was, but it was, he was sick. It wasn't like, he was like partying. No, it wasn't anything like that. So let's do these next two people who both died on this day, very strangely. Dead on this day in 1994, John Candy. Earlier today, which is sad. It's like, this is just registering now because I just realized that John Candy died on Catherine O'Hara's birthday. So Catherine O'Hara woke up. We just talked about happy birthday, Catherine O'Hara. You are a princess. So on the morning of her birthday, Catherine O'Hara woke up and she got a phone call that one of her dearest friends in the world was dead suddenly. Not just, That's rough. John Candy, of course, Catherine O'Hara, incredible together on stage. Second City, original cast members of Second City. I think of Johnny LaRue and like Lola Heatherton. Anyway, I'm kind of spinning off. John Candy was a god. John Candy, I always talk about these people in the context of my 15-year-old son and the people that I feel he needs to know about and learn about before he gets sent off into the world and hanging out and having conversations with people and looking like a dummy because he never fucking heard of John Candy before, right? Of course, he has heard of John Candy because I think John Candy is one of the special ones that because of a couple of his movies, kids are always going to see them, right? Like I think that if you're 7 or 8 years old today in America, I think there's a good chance that some point around Christmas time, you might end up watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with your grandma or something, right? Or Uncle Buck, or, these kinds of things. So I think that his movies have a place in our history that, like classics, like Jimmy Stewart movies, people will watch John Candy films. John Candy was an incredible, incredible actor. The greatest actors on the planet are comedians first. When comedians jump over to do drama, it's fucking easy. It's at least that's, you have them tell it. John Candy was that guy. John Candy was an incredible dramatic actor who, had he lived and not passed away, who knows what he was about to do in dramatic film. He gave a wang dang dilly of a last performance. I don't know if his exact last performance, but it was one of his last performances in JFK, Oliver Stone's JFK, as the put upon sweaty, gross, gluttonous New Orleans shady lawyer. And I tell you, baby, he was incredible. He wasn't being funny. He was being a character actor of the highest order. And when people create characters out of thin air for sketch work or improv work, when it comes time to meld themselves with an already established character written by a writer, they can do it because they're trained. And that's why I say people like John Candy, people like John Belushi. Adam Sandler has brought me to my knees. Adam Sandler has had dramatic film performance. Jim Carrey. Remember when Jim Carrey was talking out of his butt? Yeah. Well, I would go see the Andy Kaufman film if you think that's all. I mean, it's just incredible. And it goes all the way back to like Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers, who gave a non-comic performance in his greatest role, being there, which was just this dramatic. It was a funny movie because he should not have been dramatic, but he was. Hard to explain. Anyway, point is this. John Candy was a god. John Candy was a god who was taken from us way too soon. I do a John Candy draft. I mean, well, okay. All right, what do you say? Let's look at the John Candy filmography. Try and figure out what we like best. Honestly, I think his greatest film was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think that is the perfect film. I think you can put Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on for anybody from any generation, from any decade, and they will sit there and they will love it for the exact same reasons that everyone else does. It's because it's a pure, authentic movie about caring for each other. And it connects because that is typically not what Hollywood movies are. So, that's, for me, I think it's absolutely, without question, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a top 10 film of all time, but we can go into that when I decide to make the video for that list. All right, let's see. What do we have here for John Candy? The Blues Brothers. That's now, I already knew him before the Blues Brothers because I was a big fan of Second City as a little kid. So I knew him before he was the guy in the Blues Brothers going orange whip, orange whip, orange whip. Small stuff. Stripes, Dewey Oxenberger in Stripes, advising Lee Harvey on how to play poker. Now, I'm a gambling man. I'd go all in, but that's just me. Some of you may have noticed I've got a bit of a weight problem, so I figured the Army's perfect for me. John Candy, so funny in those early films. Then he National Lampoons, as of course the guard who had to tell the Griswolds that it was closed down. Park was closed after all they went through. All right, let's rattle off some. He started getting starring roles in the mid-'80s. Spaceballs, of course, Barf. That was great. I'm going to run some of these off and just attach whatever memories you have. These are all John Candy movies. Summer Rental, Volunteers, Armed and Dangerous, Spaceballs, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Great Outdoors, Who's Harry Crumb, Speed Zone, Uncle Buck, Home Alone, of course, small role. Nothing But Trouble, Career Opportunities, Only the Lonely. Hold on. Only the Mother Effin' Lonely. If you guys want to see an example of what John Candy could do as an actor that would just make you melt, see Only the Lonely. in his, if we were doing a draft, Only the Lonely would probably be number 2 behind Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He plays a cop who has to take care of his mother. It's just him and his mother. And he falls in love late in life. Not late. He was like 38, but he's it is such a sweet movie. It's not Fatty Fall Down. It's not John Candy being a character. It's John Candy being an everyman character that a Jimmy Stewart. And you're like, wow. Delirious, JFK, Rookie of the Year, Cool Runnings, Wagons East, Canadian Bacon, posthumously. Wagons East, posthumously. The posthumous releases are bullshit because they were movies that he didn't finish, but he was in some scenes, so they tried to capitalize on it, and that's unfair to him. But Cool Runnings, man. Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings. Let's go with this. Let's go with Cool Runnings being his official last full film, where he was alive for the entire thing and he walked the red carpet for its premiere. Cool Running. That's another great film. John Candy is an absolute genius, and he died on this day, and I'm not saying he's going to heaven because he's a complicated guy, but he's going to heaven. All right, I said there were 2. John Candy died on this day in 1994. In 1999, another person died, far lesser known. Please, John Candy's a superstar, and dead on this day in 1999, Del Close is not. Del Close is not a superstar. And also, before we do, Del's going to hell. Del was insane. Del was a troublemaker. Del Close is absolutely going to hell. He died on this day in 1999. Now, why do I tie him to John Candy or John Belushi? Name anybody funny who's ever been named John, and I will tie Del Close to him in some way, shape, or form. The best way to describe who Del Close is that Del Close is the No, fuck that. Del Close is the Bear Bryant of comedy coaches. There you go. That's the best way to say it. He's not the Bill Belichick of comedy coaches, because that would be Lorne Michaels. But Lorne Michaels from the college ranks, or from the amateur stage of Toronto, Chicago, UCB in New York, Groundlings, Those were all Del Close students. Del Close. Let me show you who Del Close was. There is a documentary out there that you can find. It's called For Mad Men Only. And it is the story. He's one of those students. Once you get unraveling the onion of who this guy was, you're like, holy crap, how do we not know who he is? Watch this. Here's a little promo for the documentary For Mad Men Only, the story of who Del Close is.
Some people have a simple story, one the world eats up. But those people.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Del Close.
If you've never heard of Del Close, that means you're not a comedian, which is probably good news for you.
He was like a living legend. Google him. He's done every interesting thing in comedy, in my opinion.
Del taught me the whole concept of just being fearless.
He took in a bunch of really smart, talented freaks.
Oh, yeah, the cult of Del. It should be the Church of Del.
Del, thanks for teaching me everything that I know. Not going for a cheap gag or a cheap joke. Thanks, honey.
You know, I'm writing my autobiography.
You are?
In a comic book called Wasteland. It's for DC.
He wanted to reveal what he had learned in the past about comedy.
Indeed, the secret of comedy.
Okay, dope.
There's something about improvisational theater that attracts the deranged. I'm obsessed with it.
There is still a serious argument about, is improv even a performance form? Maybe a big group of people on stage just making stuff up really is a train wreck.
My friends in Scarborough, Ontario said, so what do? Kind of like get drunk and then crack jokes?
He was a fucking crazy person.
I bite myself.
Yeah, would self-destruct or OD or disappear all the time. Everyone's ratting him out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
A lot of people who, they're not like traditional actors. They're not stand-ups.
Those people existed on that stage because Del Close said we need people like that.
He came up with the line, you have a light within you, burn it out. And if you fall off the stage, too bad.
It's kind of like fireworks, the most ephemeral of art forms. You know, once it's gone, baby. There's the after image for a few seconds, but nobody will ever see anything like it again.
All right, so hold on. Look at those names. I mean, this is this is why I call he's the Bear Bryant of comedy performing in America, not stand-up comedy. You gotta understand, there's different kinds of comedy. I think it was Adam McKay, film director Adam McKay, I believe, who just said that Del taught that, there was a place for people who could act funny, who, I don't know what he said, but anyway, look at these names. Patton Oswalt, Bob Odenkirk, Jason Sudeikis. These are all students. These are all people who were coached and taught how to be funny on stage by Del Close. Patton Oswalt, Bob Odenkirk, Jason Sudeikis, Paul Scheer, Lauren Lapkus, Matt Walsh, Jason Mantzoukas, Adam McKay, George Wendt, Michaela Watkins. Okay, so you got Bill Murray, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Mike Myers, Will Ferrell, Chris Farley, Steve. I mean, come on, man!
Well, that
There's a guy you don't know, but maybe you should. An absolute god in the world of American comedy that isn't a household name and never will be, but that's how these things go. Back to Adam. Now, I know I don't know anything about comedy, or at least I know I don't know as much as Cat Williams, but I do know about Del Close. I do know how the sausage is made. He's in hell. He goes to hell. That's it. All right. First 3 quarters are in the books for today's show. Once again, I'd like to remind you that we are in a pledge week. So if there's anything that you can do to help us get to we need like $37 a show. So that means somebody's got to tip us $37 today, $37 tomorrow. It's not much. It's not a big amount, but help out if you can. I'm going to leave that up there for you. So, hold on. Yeah, we don't need that. Let's get rid of that. So the studio is different. The Kelly Moore Memorial Studio here is a little bit different today. It's stripped down. What this Daily Show studio is going to look like, or the set, or whatever is going to. What is that? Why did it pause? Why did my cool ass eagle pause? Oh, because it's already been an hour again. I need a longer cool ass eagle. I don't know how to do anything. Fine. All right, where were we? I don't know. Who cares? Let's get rolling. Let's move on to quarter four. These are the hot topics, current events, all the stuff you need to know. Adam says, did you watch the Del Close documentary? Yeah, I saw it years ago. And then I recently watched it with my son about a year ago. Yeah. Why? I don't know. Never mind. I can't be distracted by that. We're moving on. I love you, Adam. We're good. This is beer talk. This isn't, 45-second delay because one guy is streaming and then it's got, can't have this conversation. All right, let's get going. Fourth quarter. This is where we talk about all the things that are happening today. Let me run through some things. Heavy stuff. God, I'll give you my thoughts. All right, tariffs, stock markets, mess. That's what I've got here, okay? That's all I've got written down. I don't want to go into the weeds on this stuff. Where's the stock market at right now? Let me see. Ugh. All right, let's see where we're at. We're down 305. We're down. It's not good. 305 is not good. It was worse. It was worse earlier. It's going up and down. Stock market's going up and down. Why? Because of tariffs. Today's the day they announced the tariffs. We're at war with we're at economic warfare with our long-standing enemies, the Canadians, and I don't get what's going on. But okay, so we don't talk about that crap here because I'm not smart enough to really give you anything that's going to be life-changing information. And go find it elsewhere. You want to get into some, talks about what. Here's what I'll say. Let me tell you this about all of these tariffs and stuff. I know that we have an alarmist media, right? And this man, Trump, this man campaigned on all this stuff. This man campaigned saying this is what he was going to do. And he won. Ostensibly, people heard what he said that he was going to do and went, that's as an American one vote, one person kind of guy I am. We're going to cast that vote for him. So now he's doing it. And the alarmist media is wired to the first sign of anything that's different than what it was the second before to go, this is bad. This is different. We didn't expect this. That's what they do. They're trying to gin up the story. So if I'm filtering through all of the, Doge cuts and all of that stuff, and there's that, just the tariffs and what is he doing, the farmers are going to go through it. What if it works? These are early stages. What if this is madman diplomacy? Madman diplomacy is the using the idea that the other guy thinks you're fucking nuts in order to ultimately get the deal you want. Now, the problem with madman diplomacy is that people do get hurt in the meantime. While you're trying to figure out, is this person I'm dealing with a fucking nut or is he working me? There are people caught in the middle. There are people who are going to be hurt, innocent people. So that's one of the reasons why madman diplomacy hasn't really caught on in the free world. But that, hey, I don't know what to say. If it works, like right now, the media is ginning people up. Trump's approval numbers are awful. They're tanking, but it's too early. And that's all being ginned up by, I believe, alarmist media. Are there some things to be concerned about? Yeah. We should be hearing about fuck ups like, firing the Ebola team, right? There's a team of doctors in charge of rapid response to Ebola, like we had here in Dallas a couple of years ago. They were disbanded. The research was disbanded. There are all kinds of little things. So the problem is the metaphor of the chainsaw maybe isn't so much a metaphor. Whereas a lot of us would have been more comfortable with a scalpel approach to this bureaucratic surgery, because with the chainsaw, could be some real damage there. But it's still, the guy hasn't been president for 100 days. I mean, that's typically the mark. The first 100 days, you see the way things are looking after 100 days. But no. So people are freaking out. He's making a big speech tonight. I'll be there. I may still actually be here at the studio because I'm doing all these different builds for different sets. I may still be here for the and if that's the case, then I may jump on from one of the new sets, one of the new studios, and maybe do a live watch party of his address to Congress tonight. You guys know I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not a Trump fan, but I'm also not. What do they call it? One of these. I'm not triggered. The man doesn't trigger me. I'm okay with it. He did like in 2016. Oh, when that became a reality, I was like, wait, what? Wait, what's happening now? Wait, who? The guy from TV. Yeah. So, but not everything was terrible. The vibes were terrible. That's, my issue with Trump's first term was that, holy fuck, we were a terrible country to each other. We did not, it was bad. And I don't know what I was thinking. Like, Biden's the guy that's going to bring us all together. It was 4 years of Biden, and we got even more. Didn't stop. I don't know if we got more, but it didn't stop. It just kind of went from being, this political cycle's really got people at their throats, to being Americans are really at each other's throats. So, okay, so he won again. This time, gonna calm down and give it time. Give it time. I honestly do not have my problem. My problem is the foreign affairs situation, and it has one specific lane I'm interested in: the isolation of Russia. That's the deal. That's the plan. That was always the plan. The isolation of Russia. Why? And then if you say, why are we isolating Russia? And a whole bunch of people go, hey, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, hey, maybe we should talk to them. Maybe, I don't even know why we're ignorant. Well, just because you're ignorant doesn't mean that there's not a fucking great reason why we've isolated Russia. Oh, Jesus. All right. But tonight will be interesting. Hey, it's always good when he comes out free balling. I'm telling you, man, that Zelensky meeting was one of the most incredible. This is very vain. I don't know. There are a lot of people who will tell you it was terrible for the world. I'm like, I don't know. Dude was right. It was great TV. I really enjoyed it. As a oftentimes non-serious person, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a Zelensky guy. I'm like, this dude's getting fucking attacked by Russia. But I mean, just the spectacle of it was kind of fucking fun. I admit. Felt bad for Z. That's right, I call him Z. So tonight's going to be probably bonkers as well, dude. He might come out with a t-shirt cannon. Boom, boom. That fucking Supreme Court justices climbing all over each other to try and grab MAGA 2025 t-shirts or whatever. I don't know. He's unpredictable. He's fun. It's wild TV. Terrible reality to live in. Absolutely frightening to fuck. I mean, it's... Especially if you're, again, it's... what I am as an American right now is... Let me put it to you this way. I was talking to my friend yesterday about this because he feels the same way. Is there a lane? Is there a universe where I become some like outlaw because I refuse to fucking waver on the notion that Russia needs to prove that they can be our friend, and they have never even come close to showing that. And then like, will it just become the default mindset of the average American walking down the street trying not to bump into shit? Is it just going to become the default thing that Russia's our friend? Like, are these people, Americans, in the next few years going to slowly begin to think of Russia the way we're supposed to think of fucking Canada and the UK? Because if that is the case, I can't be here anymore. That's not America. That's stupid fuck America. That's idiocracy America. Now, like I said, I talked about this yesterday. I'm not completely opposed to the idea of us becoming closer with Russia. I talked about Gorbachev and Perestroika, Glasnost and Yeltsin. I talked about all of that stuff. But the transition to what the Soviet Union becoming Russia, because of that transition, because it was difficult, and because we put a puppet named Boris Yeltsin, who was drunk and a terrible leader for his people at a time when they needed someone to shepherd them through this crazy change, the people of Russia went and voted Putin president. It's like 3 steps forward, 5 fucking steps back. And then, he hasn't had a legit election since. He's a dictator. And they went right back to, fucking with us. And there were times when Putin would come back. I think Putin's been to the White House and they've been friendly. But for the last 15 years, man, it's been fucked up. The relationship, Putin has shown his cards. Let me show you something. I talked about this yesterday, okay? By the way, let's mention a few. Let me mention some of the other big news stories. And again, I really don't want you guys to sit here and I have to talk about this stuff. Okay? I have to talk about this specific subject of US-Russian relations. I grew up with it. This isn't politics. This is actually an issue that up until very recently, we all took for granted that both sides agreed, because both sides did agree. Yes, there were always a couple of weirdos on the outside who were like, why are they going to Moscow? Your Tulsi Gabbards, your Bernie Sanders, weirdos. But the one thing this country was aligned on until a couple of years ago is that Russia is bad, and that they're fucking with us, and that they want us to fail at everything. We all agreed. So that's why it's really difficult now. Trump stopped all aid to Ukraine, paused it. Now, again, let me go back to the madmen argument, right? Madman diplomacy, which I offered up a couple of minutes ago when I was talking about maybe there is an explanation for all of this. Yes, it's pretty shocking to learn that all U.S. aid now has been paused. And I think that's a selective word that shows that there's wiggle room for negotiation. Paused, not stopped or ended, paused. That's crazy. Shit's going to be bad. They're going to run out of shit, and, Russia's going to take advantage of it. Now, if that is, again, madman diplomacy designed to make them so desperate there in the Ukraine that they'll come crawling back on their hands and knees, okay. Now, you know why I'm against that kind of diplomacy and why I think it's terrible is because that is not the way people who have pledged to help a brother. That's what Ukraine is. Ukraine, we told them they had nukes. Ukraine had a shit ton of fucking nukes. They had an incredible military back when the Soviet Union was the Soviet Union. And when the Soviet Union broke off, the Ukes were in a position to be like, yeah, we're ballers now. But we coddled up to them. We encouraged them to seek freedom and have elections and diplomacy. And you know what? We're trying to make this world a safer place here with the breakup of the Soviet Union. We're trying to do what we can. Please give up your nukes, give up everything, give up your military. We'll protect you. We got your back. NATO's right there. Nobody's going to fuck with you. As long as you are seeking freedom, we, the United States, we've got your back. That was the promise we made to them, which is why it's an asshole move to now be like, oh, we want to thank you. Oh, it's just an asshole thing. It's not cool. It's like a jerk guy thing, but it might be effective. Madman diplomacy. I don't know. I'm trying to be open-minded. I'm trying. What I won't be open-minded about, though, is that Russia is not our friend. I want to show you something. I want to show you something that made me so angry. Last night, Jon Stewart hosted The Daily Show, and he played. I told you this story. This story fucking makes me sick to my stomach. That Russian media, for the first time ever, is talking about how the United States is doing exactly what we want. This is a major victory for us. The Russian people, the average Russian guy watching the Russian version of Fox News has been gloriously entertained recently by stories about how the United States sucks Russia's cock. That's the reality. I told you that story yesterday. The Kremlin put out a story. The Kremlin put out a statement saying that Washington, D.C. now largely aligns with Moscow. It's the official statement. And I'm sorry, I just find that a place I never thought we would be. Not after like Moscow severely changing the way they view the world. Moscow hasn't changed so that now we can freely align with them in a... No. So I want to show you this. And if you're an American, and if you're a Cold War kid, and if you know what Putin is, KGB agent, specializing in mind fuck ops and all that stuff, I want you to watch this. This was from The Daily Show. This was last night. Jon Stewart put together a compilation of these things. Oh, crap. Hold on. I got to pull it up first, don't I? Yeah, I do. All right. All right, let's start it. All right, I'll tell you how he explained it. And he pedestrian explanation of what happened in the Oval Office when the United States basically kicked Zelensky in the nuts on Friday. The correlation or whatever that they used was apparently in wrestling. John Cena turned heel. Cody Rhodes and The Rock. The Rock is a bad guy. Cody Rhodes is a good guy. The Rock was doing something to Cody Rhodes, and so Cody Rhodes had never really been afraid of The Rock. This is all WWE stuff. I'm not a fan. This is from my son. Cody Rhodes wasn't afraid of The Rock because Cody Rhodes knew that on the side of good was John Cena, right? So they're on stage at the WWE, and it's The Rock, the evil guy, and he's staring down Cody Rhodes, the light from above, and he's like, I'm not afraid of you, Rock. I've got John Cena. And John Cena comes running in, and the crowd goes nuts, and it's John Cena. I got Cody Rhodes. And then John Cena betrayed Cody Rhodes and kicked him in the nuts and beat the hell out of him. A heel turn of epic proportions. Jon Stewart very cleverly showed both. It was really smart. But that's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you here is the Kremlin and the Kremlin's response. So here, let me see if I can find this. Hold on. Yeah, okay, here we go. All right. Hold on. All right. Jon Stewart hosting The Daily Show from last night. This is what is on Russian TV. This is what the Russian people think of us. This is what they think is the reality. So
eventually you will agree to hear another verse by a hair. These guys are so up Trump's ass, they can't even admit that this meeting was Russia's wet dream.
The world is now watching how Trump behaves and acts when he's pressed. I thought he stood up for America, that we're a good people. We want to help you, but we're going to be respected. So I think Moscow is probably more afraid of Trump than ever.
Yes, people get terribly afraid when someone viciously takes their side. They must be quaking in their... What do Russians wear on their feet? I don't. Is it shoes inside other shoes and then they get very small? until the last shoe that you take off is a tiny shoe, and you're positive this has got to be the last shoe, and then, but no, little baby tiny shoe, little baby tiny shoe. No, you don't. You know what? Putin must be quaking. Let's get this is the actual Russian state television view on Russia's fearfulness.
The new administration is rapidly changing all foreign policy configurations. This largely coincides with our vision.
America said, do whatever you want. It has nothing to do with us. It's such a pleasure to watch.
Basically, he is taking our bread and butter. We wanted to saw the Western world into pieces, but he decided to saw through it himself.
Not only are the Russians not fearful, they're f***ing delighted.
All right, that's enough of that. I don't, because I don't find any of that funny. A dude on the Moscow, the Kremlin version of the Five is openly saying we wanted to saw the Western world in half, and he's doing it for us. So that's what I have a hard time with. That's what I don't understand. This. I thought I was with you guys. I thought the Russian collusion shit was bullshit. But how the fuck do you fight that back for all those years? Russia collusion, that was a hoax, was a hoax, it was a hoax, it was a hoax. I believed, thought it was. It's one of the reasons why I was so fucking grossed out by the Democratic Party. But how do you go through that and then all of this? And then do these things that make people go, oh my God, holy fuck. The absolute most insane, libtard, fucking wet dream conspiracy theory from 8 years ago that Trump is nothing more than a bought and paid for longtime agent of Putin. Remember that? Fucking those nonsense. Well, and I'm not saying it, but I'm saying when people say that and you see this, I mean, my God. Wouldn't you think this motherfucker would come into office and just want nothing to do with Russia? Just be like, you know what, for the best of bringing the country together. But no, he went the other way. And that is just, it's confounding to me. It's confounding. I worry. I worry about, I don't know. Cold War was not a victimless war. Cold War destroyed an entire generation of not just Americans, European kids, Russian kids. We all grew up in that time contemplating our own mortality with regularity because that was a time when there was somebody out there pointing a fucking nuclear missile at us. And, you know, it didn't matter that those ICBMs that they had there in Kursk or wherever certainly didn't have navigation or anything. They would have never reached us, is my point. They'd have blown up. We can't do rockets now. And we're thinking that in 1970. And the point is, I don't know, man. This Russia shit is really scary. It's really scary. And again, it's really scary. Moving on. Anyway, we're watching tonight. Hey, I'll get my bucket of popcorn. I'm going to have a couple of beers, so maybe we'll do it as a live stream. We'll see. All right, let's keep going here with all the day's news. What else do we have here? Yeah. So it's official. All right, here. You know what? Fine. Let's do this. This is another example. I shouldn't have moved on because this is important to watch. So I told you yesterday about how for some reason absolutely nobody other than, people sent out to do Trump's bidding. Nobody, right, left, Republican, Democrat, nobody understands why yesterday Pete Hegseth stopped American offensive cyber work against Russia. They're fucking with us. I mean, my God, are you on Twitter? They are fucking with us at every level. And we were doing the same. And it's not like this is new. No, we've been doing it for years and years since there's been cybercrime. We've been like, how can we use this for intelligence purposes? So for some godforsaken reason yesterday, the United States is like, yeah, we're no longer distrusting Russia on the internet. And here's a Republican dude. This is on Fox Business. This is a Republican congressman who's like, all MAGA and all that, being told on live TV that this is what just happened. And he doesn't seem like he quite understands it either. But here we go.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he's ordered a pause to offensive cyber operations in Russia. Congressman, why are we doing this and why are we doing it now?
I'm sorry, who did that?
Who did that? Is ending offensive cyber operations in Russia as of now. And
I don't know why he's doing that. The Russians are attacking us every single day. The Chinese are attacking us every single day. I don't think you signal the Russians that, hey, we're going to unilaterally withdraw from this space. If they can keep attacking us, and they do every single day, they should be fearful of our capacity to inflict damage on them. So I really don't understand where that's coming from.
It makes it look like we're moving to Russia's side, doesn't it? Or I hate to use the word, but tilting towards Russia. Looks like that.
Well, that would be a mistake on my side. Look,
I'm now going to talk and I'm going to say some bullshit because I want to stay in the good graces of MAGA, but I didn't know about that. I just got blindsided. It's terrible. I can't explain. I can't explain it. I'm shocked. I am shocked. And you should be too. Everybody should be. Europe is. Europe's like, what? Fucking what? Moving on without them. All right. Here we go. Let's keep going. How's the Pope? Do we know? I don't know. Is he alive? I heard he was. Let's go, Pope. One more day. Measles. Where are we at with measles? I saw there was a measles case in New York. Let's see. Let's check out measles. See what the latest measles. I can't. Can you guys fucking spell measles? Everybody, chat room, spell measles. Go. No spell check. Whatever comes up, go with. I can't spell measles. I keep spelling it wrong. You know what other words I can't spell? Restaurant. Oh, I struggle with restaurants. Oh. Missiles. I get missiles wrong. Unnecessary. Oh, I can't spell that one either. That's a rough one. But I've come to realize recently that measles are kind of difficult for me. I spell it wrong. Every time I'm like, really wrong again? This is like the 8th day in a row I've Google searched measles. Let's see here. What do we got here? This is Texas reports 13 new measles cases. 13. It's kind of a big jump up. So what does that make us? 63? We got 63 cases. What? Bloomberg? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. I got the headline. There you go. Bloomberg is reporting. Bloomberg wants you to know that there are 13 new cases of the measles here in Texas. However, they got more information, but they want us to pay a monthly fee, and I'm not going to do that, so we had to. All right, let's keep going. Let's see here. Here's another story that is a non-story that we can all... What's going on with them Epstein docs? How long your boy got to wait? How long we got to... And I'm not even sure. How long do I have to wait to be disappointed yet again by something that is going to be as authentic as a $3 bill? There's no $3 bill, right? That's not a thing. $3 bills don't exist. So Pam Beyond, why do I keep calling her Beyondy? Because of Dick Beyondy. Respect. One of the great rock and roll DJs of the early days of rock and roll radio, Dick Beyondy. What's her name? Liz. Let's call her Liz Bondi. Pam. There you go. I knew it was 3. I knew it was 3 letters. Pam Bondi's our attorney general. She knows how to play a game, man. She's good. She is good. And do you know how hot she is for a 70-year-old woman? I am serious. Dude. Hot. rolling in there. It's like Pam Biondi, born in 1922. Still doable. Good for her. But she knows how to play the game. Oh, shut up. I know she's not 70. She's super old. She's super old, and she looks much younger than she is. She looks 40, and she's like 60. Okay? That's what I think it is. So get off my back. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, she knows how to play the game. She goes on Fox News, and she's like, we are absolutely going to release every single little detail tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and she's like, well, I don't know where it is, and I got to call Cash. Hey, Cash. And she gets into it with the FBI for a couple of days. They know how to work the cycle. Then that brings us to a weekend. So now she's doing the weekend shows, and she's giving conflicting reports. Like on one set of interviews over the weekend, she said that we are absolutely going to be releasing the whole thing shortly. Now, I love the shortly. And then on other ones, she says short. I like shortly because I think I would go with shortly. I would always say shortly. But on the other interviews, she did the whole, the Trump gets caught in. Yeah, Trump does this shortly. We'll be releasing it shortly. That's what you say. But Trump always says 2 weeks, couple of weeks. Yeah, it'll be a couple of weeks. You can't. That's a bad one. That's dangerous. The media can seize on a couple of weeks, and they can mark a date, and then they can use that against you. And no, just say shortly doesn't mean anything. That's up to your own interpretation. When are you going to be releasing it? Shortly. No, but so she was saying a couple of weeks. But now apparently, Bambiandi is saying we're going to release the whole thing. Again, she's saying that. What the fuck? I don't know what. I want to see it, right? I mean, I don't. So I'll tell you this. All right. If I see Trump on there, let me be honest with you about my reaction to the Epstein files, okay? Let me be honest with you. If I see Trump on there, I'm like, yeah. Hey, Trump and Epstein were really good friends. Really good friends. There are too many pictures of those two dudes together, not posed. Oh, well, why do I make that distinction? Because if there's a picture of you with Jeffrey Epstein and you've got your arms around each other and you're staring directly into the camera, what may have happened there was two people who don't really know each other bumped into each other, shook hands, and then somebody said, you want to get a picture? Because at these parties, they have cameras. So if it's a dude with his arm around posing specifically for a camera, then I'm like, yeah, well, we don't know that they're friends. Do you know what we got with Trump and Epstein? We've got shit tons of candid pictures of them like dancing and like hanging out and like hardly. I mean, there are some that are posed, but there are way too many. There are way too many pictures and videos of Trump and Epstein just socializing together and looking like they're buddies to just deny it. So if the list comes out, Trump's going to be on there. They're from. Yeah, Epstein bought a house in Mar-a-Lago because he was spending so much time there because he and Donald were such buddies. So I see Trump's name, I'm going to believe it. I see Bill Clinton's name, I'm going to believe it. Bill Clinton, come on, I'm down for anything. I'm Bill Clinton, come on, I'm going to believe it. All right, so those are the two that I'll believe. If I see Bill Clinton without Donald Trump's name, I'm going to be like, go get the fuck out of here. You fucking people are shameless. Anyway. Anybody else, I'm not going to believe. Like George Soros's name shows up on there. I'm going to be like, oh, fuck you. Adding names. Shit like that. Like, obviously. Steven Spielberg. Shut up. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I start seeing that crap. But you know who I feel bad for? Because there's going to be a lot of filler names. There's going to be a lot of names to just fill up the list so it looks like they released a lot of names. I feel bad for those dudes because those are the dudes who are really cooked. Chairman of Northwestern Mutual Bank of New England, James Oxworthy. He's cooked because he really did it. They're not going to lie about people who the general public don't know. So if their name is there and accessible, they're in. So I do want to see the list. The list will be fun to pick through. Because there's going to be a lot of like regular, non-famous rich guys who are going to get fucked. And again, the only two names that are probably going to be recognizable names that I'm going to believe are Trump and Clinton. Those are the only slam dunks for me that I am absolutely certain they're both involved with Jeffrey Epstein on some level. Just going to leave it there. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. Here we are, folks. We need to all gather together. We need to send out, we need to whatever we can do to sort of become this amplifier of good vibes and good cheer, because one of the greats, one of the great, you know what, when I say one of the great, here's what I mean. So let's say at the end of this little trip, by that I mean life, let's say that one of the great revelations that are bestowed upon us as we pass to whatever the next plane is, again, non-denominational. So, you know, sometimes when great secrets of the universe are revealed to an individual in sci-fi, it often comes from like a collection of like 8 elders, and they're always like wearing hoods and you can barely see them, and they rise up and are revealed to be those that have mastered the human race and directed us. And the hunk, there's always lights and the great revolution that, there are certain. Dolly Parton is one of those. We're going to be dead, and it's going to be like, is that fucking Dolly Parton? I mean, I know that's Jimmy Stewart. Is that Dolly Parton? Some people are sent here for a reason, to just be fucking awesome all the time and influence people around them to also be awesome all the time, and Dolly Parton is that person. So we need to channel our best thoughts. Dolly lost her husband, Carl Dean. Hey, Dolly's single. First of all, are you fucking kidding me? Yes. Like, it's like, hey, Pugs, if just as a joke, let's just pretend Dolly Parton calls you up and is like, Pugs, I love your streams. Why don't you come do it out here at my house? I'm single now. Would you? I'm like, well, first of all, yes, of course. Who the fuck, Dolly Parton? Are you kidding me? We're not having sex anyway. But be like Dolly Parton's now end of life partner. Oh, there are a lot worse jobs than that, man. A lot worse jobs than that. She's such a wonderful woman. And Carl Dean, her husband of, Carl Dean is, of course, Dolly's 5th husband. They've only been married for 5 or 6 years. Fuck you. Dolly's been married to Carl Dean for like 80 years. What? Dolly ain't that. Dolly, like I said, man, when we die, Dolly's going to be one of those, like, I knew it. I knew you were an actual angel. I fucking knew it. All right, so let me give you the story about old Carl Dean, okay? Because he's a baller. You know he's awesome. You know how I know Carl Dean is awesome? Because Carl Dean was married to Dolly Parton. And do you think Dolly Parton would put up with a dick? No. Carl Dean. You know what Carl Dean might be? Carl Dean might be really boring and quiet, but he's steady, dependable, and a wonderful human being. I'm going to go with that. That's probably because, it's probably going to be hard being with Dolly Parton for 60 years. Dolly Parton's husband, Carl Dean, is dead at 82. Oh, you know what? This is TMZ. Let's scroll it together, shall we? Yeah, we'll scroll it together and you'll get to see all the pictures. Okay. There we go. Dolly Parton husband Carl Dean, dead at 82 years old. Look at these two. Look at these two. Woo! Look at God. First of all, you know what? Let's talk about Carl Dean, you handsome son of a bitch. Look at that guy. Oh. Look at these two. I know it takes a little imagination because, because they're dressed a little different. The hair is a little wild. I'd watch. You know what I mean? Like if they were like, sleeping over and they were like, oh, my friend and his girlfriend are in town from, Waco. Can they sleep on the couch? If they started, I'd watch. I'm just saying, that's a handsome couple. That is first. And here's the other thing. Okay. Not first of all, this is like third of all at this point. Ken Burns, The History of Country Music, I think it's called. I don't know. Let's just go with that. That sounds like is what it should be called. So good. Oh my God, so good. I want to watch it again. Oh. But Dolly Parton is obviously one of the icons that they focus on as being extremely important to country music. And because of that, Ken Burns, he goes deep, man, and you get to see all of these amazing pictures of like Dolly Parton throughout her life. You see her on stage for the first time. We get to watch like, huge clips of her first thing when she wasn't even famous. She was like the side girl on this Porter Wagoner show. And she was like 19 and she had just married old Carl Dean. She's like 19 years old. And Porter Wagoner, he was famous. He was famous. He was famous. I don't know. It was because, first of all, I didn't grow up in the South, but I do know that he's an important guy in his own right. And he had this show, this national TV show. And Dolly Parton was this little 18-year-old girl who would come out. And first of all, every man in America's jaw would drop. Boom. Because she was smoking cute. I mean, look, we know about the body, right? Okay, so we know what's going on with the body, but she was also just so cute about it. Drove men insane. Look at these two. Dolly Parton. Let's learn more. Let's learn more about old Carl Dean. Carl Dean, Dolly Parton's husband for more than half a century, is dead. This according to the icon herself. All right, let's see what Dolly announced. Here it was. It says, Carl Dean, husband of Dolly Parton, passed away March 3rd in Nashville at the age of 82. He will be laid to rest in a private ceremony with immediate family attending. He was survived by his siblings, Sandra and Donnie. Carl and I spent many wonderful years together. Words can't do justice to the love we shared for over 60 years. Thank you for your prayers and sympathy. The family has asked for privacy during this difficult time. You better give Dolly Parton privacy. Y'all better. I swear to God, I will take a flamethrower to any media that tries to crowd the gate to the entrance of the Dolly Parton estate. You give them privacy. All right, let's keep going. While she did not mention a cause of death, stop it. Rock climbing. He was 83. While she did not mention a cause of death, Carl had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2019. Carl and Dolly married way back in 66 after first meeting in 64 in a Nashville laundromat. It was reportedly Dolly's first day in Music City as an up-and-coming singer-songwriter. And she described their meeting as love at first sight. Look at him. There's that. That's back in 19. Yeah, it's an old man that's, you know what? We should, here's another thing. Just guy talk, pure guy talk. Let's give respect to the man. Let's give respect to this man. All right, guy talk. Sorry, ladies. I hope that this doesn't offend you, but this is the kind of shit that guys talk about when we're drinking and watching a game. Okay? Taking the hat off for old Carl Dean. Now, Carl Dean was a handsome man himself, so I'm sure that he had options and I'm sure that he was confident. But Carl Dean had the reality of being in love with a woman who everybody made tit jokes about all the time. Like everybody was sexualizing your woman. And I don't know Carl Dean, but I imagine that he's got some pretty traditional values and all of that and appreciate the way that his wife was objectified. Carl Dean never got arrested, to the best of my knowledge, for, knocking out Johnny Carson when they ran into each other at the Oscars or whatever. I don't know. Steak, let's admire that because let me tell you, and again, this is where it's different. This is where it's, because Carl Dean, in the picture that we saw, Carl Dean was a hot dude, right? Dolly Parton was a super hot chick and she was a laundromat and she saw a super hot dude. And, hot people gravitate towards each other. Usually it doesn't last more than a couple of weeks. They get tired of banging each other and then find they have nothing in common. but not these two. These two were the rare hot chick coupling, and they were together for 60 years. He also, you know what? Also respect guy talk. Carl Dean. Carl Dean. When everybody else was like, "Oh my God, look at her titties," Carl Dean was the man that was going, "Them's my titties, bitches. Them's mine." So good for him. Guy talk. The great Carl Dean. His name Parton. I don't even know his name. And you know what? Let me tell you something. Carl Dean liked it that way. Despite being together from the start of her career, Carl, who was an asphalt contractor, did he keep laying dirt? Did he keep laying asphalt? Yeah, it's like working 9 to 5. You know, that's like top of the charts. She's doing Carson. She's making movies with Dabney Coleman, and he's out there laying asphalt. I can't believe that. Actually, I can. What little I know of Carl Dean, and very little, he seems like the type. Despite being together, the star, Carl, who was an asphalt contractor, rarely shared the spotlight with his wife. Photos and videos of them out in public are rare, although Dolly spoke about him frequently. Yes, she did. That's how we know about Carl Dean. Oh, Dolly was just in her little talk. I was saying to Carl Dean the other day. Carl Dean, he was a big player in Dolly's whole shtick. She says that she wrote her 2012 song From Here to the Moon and Back for old Carl Dean. And they renewed their vows in 2016, which was their 50th anniversary. Good for them. All right, here we go. Let's look at these two, man. All right. Woo, I mean, can we just... Can we make it bigger? Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's what I want to say about this. Holy crap. Look at Dolly Parton's body. Come on, guys. You know what we're looking at. We're not just looking at the bumps. We're looking at the thin waist with the tight, compact. Do you know how freaking good Dolly Parton would look in a modern bikini with this body right here? Whoo! Good Lord, Dolly was a hot smoke show. Well, let's not sleep on old Carl Dean. Look at this guy. Well, let's get in on him. Let's see what's. Look at this son of a bitch. Look at this Elvis Presley knockoff son of a bitch. Yeah, you'd watch if they two wanted to in front of you. If they were like, "We want to do it in front of you," you'd be like, "Okay, how much do I have to pay?" "No, it's for free." "No, seriously, I think I should pay for this. This is, I'm an honest man. Look at them. Carl Dean and Dolly Parton. That's a hot couple. Good for them. Good for them. And again, good thoughts. Good thoughts for Dolly. She's an absolute treasure. What's this? Oh. We don't need to do that. Nope. Let's talk about SpaceX. SpaceX, yeah, they didn't go. You know what I mean? SpaceX, we were all excited. They were supposed to launch last Friday. The second test of the Falcon Heavy. This is an important rocket. And then the last one blew up. Last one it's like, yeah, let's go, and blows up in space or wherever it was. It wasn't good, but it did some things good. I mean, it's a domino kind of thing with space. Actually, it's not a domino thing. Terrible metaphor. I'm sorry. My point is this: baby steps. Okay, baby steps. So it was supposed to go up on Friday, and then they scrubbed that, and then it was going to go up yesterday, Monday, and it was looking good right up till about 5:30, and then they did a hold at 40. I think it was like at 40. So we're in a hold. We are in a holding pattern, and the camera is just trained on the rocket on the pad, and it's like steam's coming out of it, and I'm like, fuck. Hold at 40. Here's why. It's not a situation where we'll be holding a long time, because there's only a very short window that you can hold before you go like, never mind. I think it's 5 minutes. I think the hold, once you're inside 1 minute, can't be any longer than 5 minutes. Because if you can't fix whatever's wrong in 5 minutes and be 100% satisfied, then it needs to be looked at further, and the mission is scrubbed, or the launch is scrubbed. So at 40, I got a little bit nervous, and then they restarted it again. They restarted the clock. Wait, do I have this? Actually, I think I have it. And then finally, they ended up killing it. Do I have it? Do we need to see it? No, because it didn't go off. You know why it didn't go off? Because we don't know how to rocket yet. We don't. We think we do because we saw people on the moon 50 years ago. And then for 50 years after that, Hollywood made movies about how easy it is to be space people. And so we're like, isn't it a lot easier to be space people? It ain't easy being space people. Okay. We can't even rocket good. That's the bottom line. That's why it's like, I cringe. I love Elon and his rocket stuff, but I was cringing when he was like, because it's so duplicitous. Do you remember when the campaign was going on and Elon tried to amplify the conspiracy theory that Biden was keeping the astronauts stuck on the space station for political reasons, which I don't even know what those political reasons would be, but okay. And Elon Musk, amplified that on X by, well, as many ways, I'm sure, but one was to requote it, right? Quote tweet it. And then he added, we were going to throw a rocket up and get him, but the Biden administration seemed like they didn't want to do that. That was a tweet that he sent out. Elon Musk did. That's a lie. He knows that's a lie. He knows that's a lie. He can't launch a rocket. We were going to just throw up a rocket and go get him. Because, I hate that. I hate that there's this misinformation. So yeah, just as I kind of expected, they need to get this second launch of the Falcon Heavy into space. They have to. The first time they did it, look, you do it on your first try, you're a genius. Yeah. You do it the first time and it blows up, and people are like, that's all right. It's the first try. You got it. This is the second try. You send it up the second try and it blows up again. And that's when people start thinking, maybe we need to rethink the whole thing. And you're back to square one. And that is not what your stockholders want to hear. When you're talking about a rocket that was promised to be a revolutionary rocket that would change the way that we're able to go in and out of space and travel through space, and it would lead to bases on the moon, which would lead to exploration of Mars, all these incredible things that we human beings will do. Don't. That's human nature. Human nature is to cross that ocean, to go to that next star system. That's our nature. We in this time may be like, I don't think that's important, but it doesn't matter if it's now or if it's 1,000 years from now. Man will do that. That will be a thing. It's just how we are. So I would like to get that started. And it seems like Elon Musk wants to be the Targaryen family of the Targaryen family of Mars, and I'm okay with it. You know why? Because he's starting a new thing from scratch, different rules. I don't want there to be a king in America, because America was, it existed in a world that already existed. No, but Mars, no. If we're starting from scratch and he gets there first and he wants it to be like Game of Thrones, I'm like, fine. I don't care. Just want to get there. Just get us a rocket that can launch. We need to get to the right, because movies have us think that, like Star Wars, like run, and they jump in the spaceship and it's whoop. No. But we do need to get to the point where, hey, we should go up to the moon base tomorrow. Can we launch in the morning? Yeah, we can launch. There's a launch at 9:45, and there seems to be a window. Like, we got to get to that point where every time it goes up, it's like an airplane taking off, right? And we are nowhere. We are nowhere. Imagine if like 7 out of every airplane in the world that is taken off today. Imagine if like 7 out of 10 of them either blew up or didn't take off at all. That's where we are with rockets. So it's not a huge disaster. Now, we did have another really cool space thing happening. A private moon company. That's right. We got a private moon company. Blue Ghost is what they're called. Blue Ghost is a private company that is doing moon probes. They built moon probes. Interestingly enough, they were launched into outer space on a SpaceX rocket a while ago, and they went up. And SpaceX launched whatever it was, and some of those things that they launched were these probes that were destined for the surface of the moon. Well, guess what? They landed, and we got cool ass new moon pictures. The first cool ass new moon pictures in like forever, since 1973 or whenever the last time was that we went there. Let's see. Oh, look at that. What are they calling that? Sunrise on the moon is seen by Firefly Aerospace Blue Ghost. Firefly posted this photo on X on March the 3rd. Yeah, look at that. That's cool. All right, I don't want to get into this because it's boring to a lot of people, and I don't want to say something stupid because I'm not as prepped up on that company as I will be shortly, but I've got to delve into that now because we're going to the moon. That's right, Mr. I was born on July 20th, 1969. Something else happened on that day, but it escapes me. I was born. No, I've had a lifelong weird affinity, curiosity, and interest about not just the moon landing, but although I am expert level in moon landing talk, so space exploration. I don't know. What do you want from me? I grew up in the 70s. All right, what else do we have here? We got a story on Oscars, the Oscar ratings. Oscar ratings were garbage. That's right. Who cares? Nobody, right? I don't care. Of course, the garbage. TV ratings are all good. Everything ratings are going to be down for everything except the Super Bowl forever now because people don't watch TV the same way. It's different. Oscar ratings were down 7%. That's not that bad. That's not super terrible. Yeah. All right. That's it, guys. I think we're done. That's it. You know what we can do? I don't know if I want to do this necessarily. Al says he thinks the moon company is from here in Texas. Is that what Al is saying? Hold on. There you go. Boom. I believe they're from here in Texas. I thought they were from Japan, but you could be wrong. I don't know. Like I said, that's why I didn't want to get all that deep into it because I just saw the picture this morning and I'm like, oh, I'm not aware of this company and I don't know anything about it, but I want to talk about it because I'm a nerd. So yeah, I'll be finding all that out. Hey, we can do a question segment. Somebody said that people ask you questions in the chat room, like during the course of the show. And I never answer them because I got one window open and I'm always on a different window, that kind of thing. So if you guys want to do questions, we can do that. Can I take a break? I mean, if you want to keep going, here's the deal. I know I'm going to be here super late tonight because I'm waiting on somebody to help me come work with the tool. Yes. Okay. I was raised by a woman. I don't want to use a table saw. Okay. I need somebody who can. Anyway, I got some work to do. So, but that's not till later, and I know I'm going to be here for a while. So, if you guys have any questions or anything, you want to keep hanging out, I'm going to take a quick break, and by that I mean I'm going to go to the bathroom and refreshen my drink. But if there have been any questions recently in the chat room that I've missed that you need to know, or just anything you want to know, I don't care. Let's keep talking. I got, like I said, I'm killing time now. If you want to do it, we can do it. All right, give me a quick break. I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'm going to get another drink, and then we shall return back after this. Sorry about that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hold on. Let me just fix my soda. I'm going full leaded. I've almost never have non-diet or zero sugar soda anymore. But all we had in the refrigerator is fully leaded Dr. Pepper. So it's been a while since I've indulged in such a treat. All right, we'll leave that there. All right, so I asked before I ran off to the bathroom, I said, I've got some time to kill and I'm going to be hanging out, building new sets and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you know what? I thought I could show you. Maybe I could do that. Here, let's try this. I will show you. Today we talked about, and I'll get to the chat room questions. I want to hear your questions and I'll answer them and we can have nice conversations here for a little bit. Today was John Candy's anniversary of his death. And I was thinking about, some of the funniest things and some of the things that I love most about John Candy. Well, there was a character that he did on SCTV, the fictional mayor of the town of Mellonville. And this mayor's name was Mayor Tommy Shanks. And he was just exactly the kind of person that would be elected mayor of a town like that, just good-hearted, sweet, calm. But the problem with John Candy's portrayal of Mayor Tommy Shanks was that he was also probably fully retarded, but just really nice, and people didn't notice. And just I'm talking about an incredibly dumb man who says and misunderstands things. The character of Tommy Shanks on SCTV, he did these fireside chats. And so I was inspired by that. So there are going to be like TikTok videos and those kinds of things that I'm going to start doing to promote this show, this daily show. But they're not just going to be cutting up pieces of the show and recycling it. I want to do one-off things, opinion pieces and, that kind of stuff. Saying to people, hey, if you want more of that every day, because I don't know. I feel like, here's the point. I decided to do it and build a set that would be different than the show set, which is what this is. I decided to do it, and I was inspired by this being the anniversary of John Candy's passing, the Mayor Tommy Shanks. So I've made my own little Mayor Tommy Shanks set here, which I can show you. Hold on. Wait, I'm going to have to, whoa. Oh, am I going to have to unplug this? Hold on, real quick. Camera's going to go. Okay, hold on. Let me get that. How is this? Will this work? Well, maybe. All right, let's see it. Boom. There it is. There's my little Mayor Tommy Shanks set. Look at that. So that's my comfy chair, my roaring fire, my little end table. Anyway, that's one of the different little nooks and set kind of deals that we're building out here in these spaces for all different kinds of digital content creation. All right. Mayor Tommy Shanks. All right, let me go into the chat room. Let me see. Let me move back some suggestions here. I don't want to start with the very okay. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. Well, Al would like to point out that Dolly Parton is still a hot gilf. That is absolutely true, Al. No points. No points for pointing out the obvious. I'm sorry. So Barney's got Barney's got a whole bunch of Barney a Virgin Galactic stock guy. Good for you, man. Good for you. Support that shit. Al says no, we're still talking. Oh, okay. We're still, all of these are still All right, the singer from. All right, here we go. Here's something we'll start with. Bill. Bill says the singer from Faster Pussycats. The singer from Faster Pussycat, his wife, fell off the ship on their rock cruise. I don't know if that's apropos of anything. Barney says I could do the SNL breakdown. No, because I am still going to do that as a standalone. I can't. You're talking about I'm going to do my rant about why Shane Gillis and his performance on Saturday Night Live will be remembered forever by great comedians. All right, I guess that's it. Yeah, we don't have much going on today. There is something. I don't want to do that because okay, so I thought I could just kill about 10, 15 minutes, but I don't think I can. I can't. There are a couple of things I can do and we can do. I can get into the Saturday Night Live thing, but that's going to be another 45 minutes. So, all right, we're going to end it. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Back here again, roundabout noon from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios. I am Pugs Moran. Please, gotta get rid of that. Bye, Barney. I love you, Barney. One more time, I would like to thank Kim, Leslie, and Mama B. Guys, big energy from Mama B, who's in the hospital. She's a great supporter of the show and a woman I've known for 40 years, more than 40 years. So please give some love and good thoughts to an incredibly cool woman. And if you are so inclined and you want to support this show, again, we needed to make $37 today. Let's see if we got close. We'll find out tomorrow. Until then, I want to have something nice to say. Like I want to sign off to be like something like, but not like fucking cringe. Like go out and find something better than love. You know, I don't know. It's got to be something cool. It's got to be authentic. And here's the thing. I'm going to say a series of these from now on when I sign off. Okay. And if one sticks out, we'll go with that one, but we'll try it. Okay. So here it is. So we'll do this one. All right. We'll see you tomorrow back here at noon. Until then, go out there and hug a bum. I hug a bum. Can you say bum anymore? Hug someone who could use one hug because hugs are things that people see. Not good. It's gotta flow. Go on out there and count the smiles you make.